Hi, I'm Rebecca Bakels. Welcome to City Furniture. This is my talk, Waterbeds to Wayfair Competitor. Picture this, the 70s, Miami, waterbeds. This is the humble business origin of City Furniture, formerly known as Waterbed City, which 50 years later has now grown into the largest furniture retailer in Florida. Our decades of growth and success is thanks to a company culture that never shies away from change. And in 1994, when the trend showed waterbeds weren't the future, the company segued into a complete home furniture store. 25 years later, in early 2019, we realized our e-commerce website was essentially the waterbed of the web. It wouldn't be able to handle our ambitions to scale nationally and lead the competition with the latest web technologies. Thus, our dev team decided change was imperative. Let's get into it. The most glaring issue at that time was we were slow, painfully slow. We were behind the curve on both speed and performance of our website, along with search engine optimization that could give us an advantage in Google result ranking. Knowing this, our dev team began implementing their own in-house server-side rendering to prevent blank initial page views and provide the metadata necessary to appease the almighty Google bot. While this is all impressive and ambitious, at the end of the day, we're not an SSR-focused company or a dev tools company. We're a furniture company. And even though we could fight through the pain of implementing this ourselves, it devoured the time we could be spending focusing on building features more closely related to our customers' explicit requests and needs. Not only was this taking our time in the process of writing it, but it was perpetually claiming domain over our future development via iterating over and maintaining this code base alone. At first, we were afraid. We were petrified, kept thinking how other frameworks got you locked inside. We spent oh so many nights just thinking how we could go on, but we grew strong, and we learned how to use Next.js with our website to solve both of our biggest pain points. Next.js was becoming more and more known as the production framework for React. What we liked about it over other options, including our own, was the freedom to use what we wanted and were ready for and leave what we weren't. It was opinionated just enough to give us serious power out of the box without overpowering our entire project. As we began our transition to Next.js, we were able to keep the parts of our stack that were working, utilize our pre-existing microservices, and integrate them seamlessly in our new architecture and still have a faster website that propelled us into the modern web experience on first deploy. We chilled with this for a year. It gave us what we needed and let us shift our focus back to our customers. Now that we're comfortable with Next.js, we have grown our team and we've begun utilizing more features from the framework, including the image component. Like SSR, we developed our own image component in-house. Unlike our SSR, it was not a mess, and we were able to use it for years. At the time, we weren't compelled to swap this out because the next image component didn't have a strong advantage over the one we built. In fact, for all intents and purposes, they were essentially the same. Over time, this has changed. Lighthouse scores between the two components pulled away from each other, favoring the Next.js component by 4 to 14 points during every comparison. The next image component also implements a few properties that were really helpful for us, such as loader for dynamically assembling image URL. In addition, it improved beyond us. It again becomes code we don't have to maintain ourselves as we transition away from our custom component. Now we had unlimited power and potential backing new features, and with all the SSR work off our plate, our developers could focus on delivering to the customer. Without the burden of maintenance, we started tearing into the customer feature work we were previously unable to focus on. Unfortunately, this is where we began to feel pain points around our complex Git flow that had not caught up to our vision of rapid iteration. We had a debilitating bottleneck at our staging environment. It was set up to be one environment for queuing and testing all code changes. Did staging break constantly? Did we skip it and move untested code into pre-production? I can neither confirm nor deny the accusations presented before the defense, but what I can say is that for unconfirmed reasons, we started looking at using Vercel. With Vercel previews, we could redesign our Git flow to replace the bloodied war zone that was our staging environment with pristine, uncorrupted build environments. Our QAs could now quickly and confidently test new features without synchronizing some complex Eldritch Horror-style ritual. With a clearer, faster process, we improved communication throughout our different teams and expedited our path to production. We could get feedback from the QAs and stakeholders during earlier development stages when code changes were much less consequential. Developers could also share code deployments quickly amongst each other for various reasons, such as bug fixes, pair programming, or feedback. Our builds went from an average of 30 minutes to 2.5 minutes, and we saved roughly one entire day of work per ticket. With Vercel, our company averages 100 independent builds a week and 400 each month. We're never looking back. Unless there's a bug, pinpointing when an issue was introduced to production has never been easier now that we can time travel. Let me show you. Okay, so the business is reporting a bug in production. They said it's on the product detail page in the shipping and returns accordion and should be very obvious if we just open them up. So let's take a look. Shipping and returns. Okay, there's our bug. All right, no problem. Let's go ahead and time travel back in our Vercel deploys and see when this was first introduced. So here's our main branch, and here is the history of the deploys. So this is where the bug was found. We don't need to go there. Let's just go back to this one here. All right, cool. And then let's click this link. So scrolling down, shipping and returns. Okay, yeah, the bug is still here, so we need to keep going further back. All right, here's our next one. Let's click on this link here. And then let's go down again. Okay, yeah, no bug at all. So then that means it was introduced in the last branch before this one. So going back to here. All right, let's click on this. Directly links to Bitbucket. All right, so scrolling down, CSS. Okay, yeah, here's our bug. Oh, but it's a feature. I'll go ahead and let the business know that. But let's say they do want it removed. We have our exact commits that we can take out and fix this issue in no time at all. Enough about the past. Let's look to our future. Now that Next and Vercel has earned our trust to maintain and continuously improve on their existing products, this allows us to charge forward with a stronger focus on our business and customers. For example, recently we received a business request asking to build out a custom sectional configurator in 6 weeks. That would normally be a 4-month task. Utilizing the Vercel previews, 4 developers were able to work seamlessly, merging to a feature branch with a respective Vercel testing environment. They could get instant feedback from the other 3 developers as well as stakeholders, enabling them to ship a first iteration of this feature in 4 weeks, aka 2 weeks earlier than the estimated time that was already 2.5 months faster than the previous process and tooling. With this new confidence, we're ready to take it to the next level. With a combination of upgrading to Next 12 and moving our pre-production and production environments into Vercel, the instant performance increase from early testing is indisputable. Using Next out-of-the-box project ingest config, we're able to build and deploy faster, eliminate code, and cut our time to run unit tests in half. That's barely scratching the surface. Our current production deployment time is upwards of 30 minutes. Early testing with Vercel brings deployments down to 4 minutes. With an average of 15 deploys per day, that's 7.5 hours of waiting. Over the course of a year, that's 1,950 hours saved for the development team alone. On top of that, we're looking forward to seeing the amount of time QA will save waiting to test and the value of reallocating that time per developer to other tasks. We take the work off of our developers' plates and pass it to the Vercel team with the previously mentioned image component, app and testing configs, and deploys, giving us a chance to work with bleeding-edge technology like incremental stacker generation that could potentially eliminate load times for pages that heavily rely on our content management system. Thanks to Next.js and Vercel, we can focus stronger on what our current and future customers want. Not playing catch-up, but blazing ahead of the competition. leading, innovating, and differentiating from our competitors. We are now positioned to confidently take on the next growth stages of our company, knowing that we're working with the best of what web technologies can offer. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my talk. Feel free to connect with me on Twitter and let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of the conference.